lifetime partnership. How's that?
And how about that, right?
There is nothing more satisfying than giving back. I'll give you
Amen.
what drives me every morning I wake up. If you go to Facebook and you go to the search function using the magnifying glass and you type in hashtag 41angel, that is my April Fool's baby who died at 38. On her deathbed, she said two things. Daddy, I just became an Immerman angel. It is the proudest accomplishment of my life. Now, she's a licensed clinical social worker, 38 years old, dying of breast cancer. And Immerman Angels is an organization that every single member of my family belongs to. Johnny's got a world-class board. Anywhere in the world, any type of cancer, within 24 hours, he matches a cancer fighter with a cancer survivor of the same exact profile.
Wow.
I am a two-time survivor, and when I was cured in 1990, I get this guy calling me on the phone. He goes, "Hey, Jim, Zed Randall, voice of Major League," and I said, "Wait a minute, slow down. The damn New Yorkers." He said, "My name is Ed Randall. I am the voice of Major League Baseball on Sirius XM radio in New York, and I'm your new mentor angel." And I said, "Okay, now I got it. You're the obnoxious Howard Stern's roommate." And he said, "Yes." Now, he runs a charity, and we were just really busy. He runs a charity called Fans, like baseball fans, fansforthecure.org, and I help him. And Steve Garvey, by the way, is chairman of the board. And on Father's Day, we put on 167 events across all of major and minor league baseball. Because when people ask me, "Jim, what do you do for a living?" I tell them I try to save half the world, and they laugh in my face, and then they notice my expression hasn't changed. Because 1 in 6 of us are going to die with prostate cancer. And it's an absolute crime, because this is the thing that is 98% curable with a simple blood test. But I coined the phrase, "No man should die from stubbornness," because they don't click on links, scan QR codes, watch videos, listen to people, and 28,000 men were not at the Thanksgiving Day table because they were just too stubborn to listen to learn. So Ed's charity gets the other half of my company profits. And that's what keeps me going every day. When I go to bed at night, I say, "Honey, how did I do today?"
Amazing. That's beautiful. Well said. And I love the veracity and the care, and then just the truth of sharing it. And what a phenomenal story about the Angels too. Wow. I mean, that is the real deal. I've never heard of them, so I'll definitely have to type in the hashtag 41angel. That sounds very impressive, and I'm very, very curious now, so I definitely writing that down.
All right, well, give me your background. I heard something about Tony Robbins, did I?
Yeah, so just to follow with what you mentioned in regards to the purpose of my life and what gets me going every day, right? So my art of fulfillment is in transforming lives through the lens of charity and contribution. So identifying what that cause or calling is from someone and taking the tyranny of how off their plate so they can go to the mountaintop and share their vision. So many people get stuck in the minutia and fighting the headaches and all of the stuff that comes with it. But if sales, marketing, innovation, and psychology can all be taken off the plate for that individual and they can really shine, now that gets me going. So I founded a company about 3 years ago, and literally someone's planting a billion trees, someone's fighting to eradicate sex trafficking, someone's handing out turkeys. The essence of the calling inside them gets me going every day. I mean, it doesn't matter what specifically, it matters the passion behind the mission and the positive stewardship of what they're doing for the light. So that just pumps me up. So, yeah, so founded that a couple years ago, and then I can give you my Cliff Note version story if you wish, because I know you
Yeah,
asked about
please.
Tony Robbins. Would you
Yeah,
like that, or?
yeah, I want to hear about Tony because I got a story to share.
Okay, great. Yeah, so found Tony Robbins when I was 17 years old in a thrift shop for $5.99. Found his personal power tapes. 2 weeks later, I found Persuasion Engineering by Dr. Richard Bandler, the founder of neurolinguistic programming, who taught Tony. So this led me on sales and marketing, you name it, always top 1, 2% in every field. You name the product or service. Then I became a licensed insurance agent for a billion-dollar company, Mutual of Omaha. I worked with their change management team. We were working with the vice president. I was the voice for the call center floor for about 150, 200 people. We were doing Google sprints, creating product design, testing it on a marketplace in 5 days. It was fun. It was great, but I was not fulfilled. I was burnt out telemarketer in Omaha, Nebraska, working in the basement. So in long story short, 2020, I decided to burn my boats per se, right? And I had a quote from the great Zig Ziglar on my heart and mind. I said, if I'm able to help more people reach their dreams and reach their goals, natural hit mine. And with that vibrancy, God, the universe opened up and brought me some incredible people. Met a dear friend, mentor, Bob Berenger, a certified super genius who built military intelligence, saved hundreds of thousands of lives, has 3 nonprofits. He's like Elon Musk or smarter, literally. And then we ended up going full circle and getting on stage with Tony Robbins for creating a charity in 5 days and winning business mastery. Phenomenal. I kept hearing charity, pay it forward nonprofits, but I still wasn't listening, so I took one more job. I was a vice president of a United States-wide car company. We taught people how to buy and flip cars using our money. We trained under Russell Brunson's #1 guy, Brian Delaney, on the perfect funnel system. Incredible products and services and structure. So I just downloaded deeply. But I couldn't outweigh the psychology of the leadership, so for integral reasons had to leave. And then about 3 years ago, I finally listened and followed my calling. And that was, I said, wait, if I'm able to use my sales and marketing skills all the way back from age 17 to help mission-driven people and nonprofits get their mission to the masses, I never have to work a day in my life again. And I founded the Nonprofit Creators. Now, moving forward, I always had the mission of raising the collective consciousness. How can we do that? So with the Nonprofit Creators, we create a charity. Then it becomes a board. Then there's a volunteer army. Then there's tons of donors. Now you times that 100, 200, 300 times. Now you have this interconnectedness of light. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And I'm an integrator. It's like integration strategist type of, like a key master, if you would call, whatever you want to call it. So when I see things, I'm like, oh wait, you guys, 10 people need to speak to Jim right now. So we'll give all the referrals, and then as a visionary, you look at it and maybe one of them comes blossoming to the true fruition or a little decent. I don't like that stats. That's not my model, my motto. So what happened was like, there's got to be a better strategy. So I just founded Innovate for Humanity. Take super philanthropists, have struggling startups, have billionaires with struggling charities, create a sacred community based on 3 pillars: contribution, growth, and love and connection in the center. So based on innovation, marketing, psychology, and integration of it all, and how do we create that positive stewardship in a roundtable atmosphere while we condense timelines and really help people out. So that's my baby. And now just launching this thing called Love and Above Mastermind with Bob Berenger, that gentleman who I met 4 years ago through Divinity. So I know that's a lot, but that's just a little bit about me, brother.
Well, my God, I do believe that God put you in my life, and you'll find 2 things. One, you never have to repeat yourself with me. I grab it very fast. And if I don't,
Amazing.
I'm going to interrupt you, and I am going to ask you questions to verify understanding. But other than that, if I'm quiet, I got it, and I got all of it. So let me start
Amen.
and hit you with a fire hose, because you seem like the guy who can take it. Tony had this girl called Pam Hendrickson. Did you know her?
I did not.
She was him. She was his brains. She was vice president of content development and program creation for Anthony Robbins for 18 years.
Gotcha.
And she was one of my cancer fighters. And her partner is Dr. Jeannie Hurlburt from the University of North Carolina. And the last time I talked to Pam, she was hired by Jack Welch. Do you know him?
Yes.
Yeah, he was regarded the best manager in the world, right? He was a total asshole. And I'm glad I'm saying it while it's recorded. He wrote a book modestly titled Jack, and I am chapter 4. I was one of his top, what he called high pots, one of the top 20 hand-picked people at General Electric. I was national sales manager of the lighting business group that he was grooming with his consumer products and services marketing seminar to be the future leader of General Electric. What I did is I told him he could take his company, his terrible philosophy on management, and put it where the sun never shined. So I joined a company which is the first time in the history of the United States that communist capital came into the U.S. to form a U.S. corporation. I was solicited by the guy who created Philips Lighting and another guy who was a little Jewish guy out of Cheswick, Pennsylvania, called Ernie Perez. And do you remember the dollar days when we were growing up?
Dollar days. I don't recall.
That was the circular in every Sunday newspaper where everything was $1, $2, $3. And it was by far, the most profitable program that Kmart ever ran. And it included every mass merchandiser in America. So I was corporate vice president, sales and marketing, and I had the country of Hungary on my board. And I was the third largest light bulb manufacturer in the world. That is the corporate structure that I just put together on April 8th as I form my first S corporation. And I don't do anything halfway. So the same day I formed a second S corporation to be the holding company. But I did send you the formation video of my board, and Philip said, "Why did you send that to Adam?" And I said, "Because I can't think of anything on earth that would establish credibility as much as him seeing the magic that happened in that meeting, because you cannot fake that." So I know you're a very, very busy man. Did you have a chance to watch that video?
I have not. Did you email it to me, or did it come through separate?
I would have probably emailed it. I could have texted it. I communicate on every platform known to mankind. Sure. But yeah, I did send it to you. I'd be glad to resend it.
Yeah, yes, please, because I don't believe I did. I was under the weather yesterday. I had the day off, so.
I'm sorry to hear
yes,
that.
Please do.
Glad you took care of yourself. The other thing that would make it clear is, did you visit my webpage?
Just briefly, about an hour before our call. Yes.
Okay. I love people who are honest. Did you watch some or all of the video?
I scrolled through because I wanted to keep a blank slate before I spoke to you. I wanted to hear more just from you and the passion behind the mission.
I respect that.
I saw a lot.
Okay, what it is the best video I've produced in 13 years, and I've produced probably 500 of them, and that's my new partner. You see this symbol right behind me. Do you have a smartphone?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Go ahead and, I'll quit talking. Go ahead and scan that.
Got it.
space, and it's nice to always have that personalized office space. So if you're doing an interview with students come.
Got it. The queen of the metaverse education on steroids.
Now,
All right.
that's the company that I bought in the middle of the demo.
Okay.
I'll say that again. I bought the company in the middle of the demo.
Wow.
That's why they call me Mr. Call to Action. I do not shuffle my feet. I know when something is a huge winner. So I do
Yes.
have a significant equity position. And this guy is driving me nuts on Skype. Give me a second. Jeez.
Okay.
And anyway, we believe that we are the best virtual reality metaverse in the world. That's a
Okay.
strong statement, but my partner, who was on the younger President Bush's leadership and education committee for 5 years, who is Dr. John Kalaris, senior professor at DeVry, Keller Graduate School of Management, my asshole buddy for over 20 years, the reason my wife of 42 years left me. I mean, that Dr. John is now moving his $100 million Ariston University over onto what has been renamed Beyond XR Studios. So there's a lot there.
Sure.
And then Beverly and I did another podcast on another platform that I was hoping would become my chairman of the board. We have become really, and you know, when God said something 3 times in the Bible, it was usually to the apostles. And he said, when I say something 3 times, guys, listen up, it's really important. And Eric and I have really bonded into an agape love like you won't believe. And that's how Philip became a member of my board. So there's a lot going on. Let me try to give you the highlights, all right?
Yes.
And I don't have an ego because I've screwed up so bad. I even was in jail here a couple of weeks ago. That's another story. But I started out at 15 years old, 1965, and I was the youngest manager in the history of the McDonald's Corporation. So I didn't work for a franchise, I worked for Ray Kroc. And have you ever seen the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton? All right. Remember the scene about the garbage?
Tell me more.
I was part of that. What happened is Ray Kroc drove up to the other store that he owned in the other side of town, and he saw that the garbage cans were dirty. He took off his suit, went into what we call the corral, pulled all of the garbage cans back, cleaned every single one of them, walked in the back door, said, "I'm Ray Kroc, you're fired." And that manager called me and told me what just happened, and he said, "You better get your store ready." Well, I was ready.
Right.
So I went on to almost flunk out of UConn. I was accepted at Notre Dame, Stevens Institute of Technology, Lowell Institute of Technology, UMass, and UConn. And I wanted to be an electrical engineer, I thought, because I thought these things, computers, would be the future of the world. So in 1967, I began programming with punch cards in Fortran. Now, I did party and chase the women a lot. I did not show up for class very often, and by the time I got to my sophomore year, I flunked my first 5th level math course in college. And I looked in the mirror and I said, "You've never failed at anything. Could you have passed that course if you maybe showed up to a class or two?" And I said, "No." So I changed my major. I avoided flunking out barely. I worked full-time at McDonald's while I carried 18 credits. And thank God I didn't go to Notre Dame or Stevens or whatever, because they would have thrown me out. I got out of school, and I thought I was in love. I was in love with this foxy little girl out of Louisville, Kentucky. So I marched my fat butt into Kentucky Fried Chicken headquarters, and I said, I want you to hire me. And the vice president of marketing was great. He said, Jim, I can't hire you. And I said, why? He said, because you don't have a master's degree. But I like you. So let me rewrite your resume. Let me let you use our company's Xerox machine. And he helped me in a job search. And I joined Singer Business Machines, the old Frieden calculator company. I'm 21 years old. And I'm not winning with the gorgeous girlfriend. Ironically, fast forward, I'm trying to date her after 50 years. We were just communicating yesterday. But I am in the middle of, I called on every single attorney in Louisville, Kentucky with a 400-pound mechanical typewriter with paper punch and a paper punch reader. And at the same time, my guy from Morocco is also driving me nuts. At the same time, I've got the greatest client-server computer in the world called the System 10, and we're competing with DEC and IBM. We had all the Sears installations. So I'm starving. I'm living in the room, with cockroaches at $10 a week in downtown Louisville. And I met this other girl, and I got a chance to join General Electric, and she was dumb enough to marry me. And at the time, the bill collectors were calling me, and that's where I started with General Electric. Went 13 years, became national sales manager, knew every leader in the country, Sam Walton, his wife Helen, Jack and Melba, their entire executive staff were my guests at dinner, and I was only 30 years old. So then I ran this other light bulb company, and then to shorten the story, I became the best known unemployed guy in Chicago, and I have the receipts to prove it. I got a job after I was in the computer business again, 20-something years later? So I was hired as relationship director for one of the largest point-of-sale companies in the country called Triad Systems. We had like a 70% market share in the hardware industry and the automotive industry, and I won the job in a card game. I was in Las Vegas at a card table with 4 people. One was the vice president of Pro Hardware, who just gave me Vendor of the Year for the 4th time in a row. Never been done by anybody, including Stanley, Black & Decker, 3M, GE, so I was kind of proud. And the guy to my left was a 20-something-year-old who followed me in the hardware chair, 20 years later. And the guy on the right, I knew that he was with CompuServe, but he said, do you have a business card? We'd like to talk to you. Well, 13 interviews later, I am running 1,600 Unix installations, an international sales force of 100, but I had to pass a training course. And I am kind of a real whiz at Windows, but when it comes to Unix, I was learning from scratch, right? I'm 59 years old. My 24-year-old roommate, and you'll find I'm a little competitive, he had been on the automotive side for 4 years. I'm going to beat him in a demo. Never going to happen in our lifetime. So when it came time for my demo, the instructor came up to my chair and I said, could you please ask everybody to sit down? And he goes, what is Bannon going to do this time? So I walked up to an LCD projector and I said to the class, they didn't hire me to press keys. They hired me to do this. And I put on a mock sales meeting for our largest prospect. And I said, and when I do that, I'm going to go get the best talent we have in the company. And Keith, you're the best demo. Sit at the terminal, run this report, run that report. And I graduated first in my class without ever touching a keyboard. That accomplishment will never be repeated. And I said to my roommate, I beat you.
Hey, man. Oh, you're awesome, Jim. This is incredible. Keep going.
So then I got fired because Cotter and Company, True Value Hardware, bought Service-Star, and Service-Star had been my account for 25 years. One of the reasons Triad hired me is that they were in a secret merger discussions, and I asked the president of Service-Star, should I go to work for Triad, and he told me no. And I still accepted the job, so they pretty much respected me. But they fired me because we were acquired by a big multi-millionaire out of Texas, and his famous quote was, if you want to know how to lose money, I'll tell you how many cattle you got to buy. But he bought our company and I was gone. So I went through a job search, and back in the days of GE, I had taken a kid from Lubbock, Texas, and promoted him 4 levels, never been done in the history of General Electric. My whole team thought I'd been drinking something. Well, he made us Vendor of the Year with Ace Hardware, and then he became Vice President of Square D, the $300 million company who invented the circuit breaker. So he said, you're available? My God, move to Chicago, work for me. So I did. I was the Central Regional Manager, ran $60 million worth of business with Home Depot and Menards and all the big boys, and then got promoted to New Business Development Manager for the whole $300 million. And I wrote a marketing plan to create structured wiring in the world, never existed before, and that was data, video, audio networks in the home. And the company thought that we could double our size, this $100 million company. So we bought a $4 billion competitor. 9/11 happened, and then the European Trade Commission went thumbs down on the $4 billion merger. My boss flew in from Louisville. She was a black woman, one of the greatest leaders I've ever worked for. She went on to become president of Cutler Hammer. And she fired me by reading a paragraph on a piece of paper, and that was the end of my corporate career. So I went the next 9 years trying to find gainful employment. And I could give you the long story, but the highlights were that I made a presentation to the Google Development Group Chicago Android Meetup and taught them they were doing it wrong. That was interesting. I also got involved in a couple MLM organizations and formed strategic partnerships between them. One was My Video Talk, and the other was Talk Fusion. And then I got together with a bunch of guys, and we raised $14 million with Martha Stewart and NASCAR, and we marched up to this kid Zuckerberg. Remember, this is 2004. And he's got a kids and cats social media platform. So we taught him how to create the biggest advertising company in the world that you now know as Meta. And the way we did it is that we had created tens of thousands of the first, what are technically called business fan pages, and we plunked the TV station inside it and gave it away free. And my wife says, are you nuts? You haven't had a paycheck in years, and you're giving this away free. And I said, it seemed to work for Google. We figured it would work for us. Well, we were so far ahead. So far ahead of Joe and Joanna America that even the VCs didn't understand us. And again, I was without a job. So here I am running the 7 years. I'm invited to the board of directors Christmas party for the Barrington Career Center, the largest nonprofit job support group. So if you made over $75,000 in Chicago in the years 21 through about 28, you knew my name. Because if you were the chairman of United Airlines, or you were the head quality control manager of Motorola, or you were the guy who created OnStar, or you were a golfing professional that ran the biggest tournaments in Chicago, you all knew me because I created 7 Yahoo groups, all mirror image of each other. One was for CEOs, the other was for CFOs and finance, the other was manufacturing, the other was sales and marketing. So every discipline, and I had them running on Yahoo groups, 4,200 clients. So that's when I got involved. I created the first company, which failed miserably. Reminisced with an email I sent out today. It was called PowerPoint 2, the numeral 2, YouTube.com. And it came from prayer, Adam. I had been networking, and the president of the local chamber heard my background, and she said, "Oh my God, there is no one on earth that's going to hire you. You would intimidate the hell out of anybody, and nobody would believe that you'd kill for a $40,000 a year job. So I suggest you start your own company." Well, that was the last thing in the world they ever thought of or wanted. So I went home in the proverbial napkin, right? After the prayer, I wrote down, I said, "Jim, what are your skills?" And number 1 came up, communication. Okay. What are the trends in the market? Internet. What's the biggest trend on the internet? YouTube. What skills can you bring to that vision? And what tools do you use? Well, every national sales manager's number 1 tool is PowerPoint. So I designed the idea of taking PowerPoints and turning them into videos and marketing them to the world. So I spent 6 months and a lot of money, and I ran into a guy who sold complete call centers for AT&T. And with me, once I build a relationship, it's a curse for life. So David gives me he should never have done this. He gives me his double opt-in mailing list that's got all the vice presidents of marketing throughout the country. And we blasted 75,000 emails. You want to know how many orders I got?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Not
Right.
one.
Right.
So that's when I get a phone call, and this guy's going, "Jim, I don't want you selling my software." And I said, "Who the hell is this?" And he says, and I never mention his name or his email, so we'll just call him name redacted. And he said, "I am the founder and president of the only licensee for QR codes in North America. It was created by Toyota. They only have 5 licenses in the world, and I do not want you selling my software." Now, I have people that work for me, so I don't talk to people, and he doesn't. And he said, "But you I want to talk to, because I've been watching you, and you are absolutely honest and totally open. I just can't figure out what you're doing." So after a 2-hour conversation, he said, "Oh my God." And we started talking about money, and I said, "Nope, I want to be the best salesperson you never paid. But what I want is unfettered access to your platform." He said, "Done." Now, who's that partner of yours in New York, the girl? For her, too. Who's the guy in Raritan, Honduras? Him, too. And that was a decade ago. So I set out to improve on what Toyota created, and I can now modestly say I've done it. I air freighted 1,000 Magic Cubes for February 8th, when Walmart was the 4 o'clock presentation. I was the 5 o'clock, and Eric was the 6 o'clock. I presented to 27 chambers of commerce, 400 vendors, 4 streaming TV shows, and my life has changed upside down. And what it is a simple, you know what a stress reliever is, right?
Yes.
It's a simple 4-inch cube. How many sides to the cube?
Are you talking a cube?
Yeah,
Si-
how many sides to a cube?
Well, 16?
6. 4 sides, the top and the bottom, right?
Got it. Right.
So I spent 13 years failing and fixing to create what is behind me, and that is called a call to action symbol, which is a QR code on steroids. And the cube allows me to put 6 of them in the palm of your hands. So when you scan it, just by following the simple 1, 2, 3 instructions, start your camera, focus, push to go. In less than a second, I have got you. I have got you. Because I have just brought the offline world to your online presence. And if I'm any good at what I do, and I'm pretty good at what I do, I take any printed material, graphic or video, and I turn it into a two-way interactive communication experience. And I do it better than anybody on the face of the earth. I sell the call to action symbol for $79 one time. I deliver it in an email in less than 24 hours. It's hand built by my graphic artist in India and now quite a few others. And then I suggest you lead it to a Movies, which is a mobile optimized video site that is a web page that is world class, designed from scratch, because nobody who programs for laptops or desktops, they don't have a clue how to build mobile sites. I build the best in the world and I sell it for $149. You will never find anybody to compete with that anywhere near it. And it's $30 a month hosting. And then I give a report that when we talk to Google here in the next couple weeks is going to blow their socks off, because I get every piece of data other than shoe size about the person who scanned it. And that report is worth, actually to candidates, tens of thousands, but to businesses, it's worth thousands. And Adam, do you want to know what I charge for that?
Yes.
The same thing that my wife left me over, $0. So $79 and $149, that's my business.
So what? So I'm being cognizant of time because I have a meeting here, and I want to continue this, but I can push till 20 more minutes. That can you do a little bit longer?
I
Or you
am
have a cutoff?
done, because between this presentation, which is recorded, and the 2 videos I gave you, I don't have to say another word. You're either a guy who's got vision and perceptiveness and will be partners for life, or you're not, and therefore I haven't wasted much time.
Gotcha. So with this, why I'm hesitating and not so we work with Hubcast Media, Hubcast International, the Unite Foundation, and the SDG Impact Fund. Folks named Peter Young and those guys over there, and he introduced me to a gentleman a couple months ago when we did the Earth Day project on New York City. We had Times Square, and they're using V Code. Are you familiar with Louis James and V Code?
Yeah, I did a little homework on it, and it's.
Okay.
I even asked my founder, and his short response was, "It's nothing like your system, Jim."
Gotcha. Do you know of the capabilities and what they were doing from like a marketing standpoint and data collection, and different from what you guys are doing?
Again, that part is similar, but I'm all ears to be educated. I did the homework, but I don't have a full, I've not operated it myself. I've not seen the reports. I have not
Sure.
been in depth, but I know the concept.
Gotcha. Because I'm very curious to see, because I haven't done my research and due diligence on learning more. And I'm very, very curious. And when I was there with him in the past couple months and seeing some of it, it the differentiating of geo-targeting and the data collection and the QR codes for countries versus passport to intel companies and selling B2G government and all of that things, and it could change and shift and no one following it. I was like, this is wild. Now, based upon consumer data, psychometrics, psychoanalysis, all the marketing stuff and the algorithms, let's just say, it's like, well, how do you do that in a positive stewardship way with like positive stewardship, like good morals, ethics, and the ability to make sure it stays in the right hands is so vital. And that's why me and him and a couple of these people are keeping it. I'm not keeping it. It's just listening, learning, discerning, asking the right questions,
Yep.
and going through it. As you can imagine, I'm trying to figure out what's the best question to ask in regards to this call to action symbol. In what is your main mission? What is the purpose of this for you, with beyond the 49 and 179 and then $30 reoccurring, monthly reoccurring stuff? What is your mission for this to change? Or what would you like to disturb or disrupt?
I want to save half the world.
Yes, I love that.
I want to change politics in America.
Okay.
And I want to hook up with a charity that I've identified as being the best in the world. And I'll share it with you. His name is Cameron Ripley. His company is communityboost.org. His second company is Nonprofit Marketing. And I have been soliciting him for 6 months because I'm on 3 committees of Adam Kinzinger's CountryFirst.com. We are 300,000 strong. We welcome Democrats, Republicans, independent, undecided, everybody except the criminal MAGA on the right. We are the only nonprofit candidate training program in America. I'm on the speaker committee, and we had Terry Virts, who's the #1 astronaut in the world. He spent 200 days in the space station. He was shot up on the cosmonaut Soyuz rocket. And when I met with Mark Kelly, our senator and astronaut, a couple weeks ago in a very intimate setting, I shook his hand and I said, I wish I could tell you that Terry Virts told me to say hello to you, but that would be a lie, and I never lie. And he looked at me really strange. And I said, but I have his autographed book that I could give to you. And he turned to me and he said, why the hell would I want Terry Virts' book? And I thought to myself, you jerk, I'm just trying to have social conversation with you. And then I looked at his campaign manager, and then I went to Ruben Gallego, and he said, hi, Jim, and that blew me away. And I am 98% of the way there that I'll be running Ruben for U.S. Senate. So I gave him my second magic cube, and I looked him straight in the eye, and I said, Ruben, I am going to get you elected to the U.S. Senate, guaranteed. And if I get him, because he and Adam are very close, then Adam will sign my 5-figure management contract. And then, because of the billions we have behind us, the Magic Cube will be in every race in 2024, from dog catcher to president, in every city, hamlet, and village in America. And that's billions of dollars behind us, and about $100 million for my company. So the guys and gals who trusted me and came on my board are going to get very rich very fast.
Beautiful. I love your synthesis of what matters most to you, too. thank you for leading with that as well. Like, that shares a lot about who you are
Well, that's
beyond
my
the
41
story. So
angel,
that's
right? She's the one I got to answer to, nobody else.
wow. I'm getting shivers feeling that from you. So thank you. Wow. Oh man.
Can I give you one more?
Yes.
I'm the idiot who raised his hand. My name is Bannon, so I own the hashtag Bannon, not my relative, and he's finally going to prison. He should have been there 6 years ago. Do you think I know a little bit about Cambridge Analytica? Duh. So I am, my birthday's January 14th. I'm a member of the Lions Club in Santan Valley. We have 8 people, but we're powerful. 2 of them are blind. So I went to Melvin Jones' birthday party because he was born here, and it was his 145th birthday on January 13th. So I'm listening to the number 2 guy in the world. His name's Jerome Thompson. He's a lawyer from Alabama. And his speech says, you know, Melvin was our founder, our first visionary. Helen Keller was our second visionary because in 1925, she gave us the challenge to support youth and eyesight. And since then, we've been doing eyesight exams in schools and giving vouchers to people who can't afford eyeglasses and doctors and recycling. And whenever you say Lions, everybody's thinking of sight, right? So he says, we're looking for our third visionary. And I blame Gene, the blind guy sitting next to me, for not grabbing my vest because I walked up to the microphone and I said, you just found him. On one condition, I get one member of all 49,000 Lions Club chapters on my team. So I am now running Lions Quest 2024 with the largest philanthropic organization in the world that's not tied to a religion. We have a seat on the United Nations. We are about to hit 1.5 million members. And the first thing that we did is my little 8 people, every 42 seconds, a young boy or girl stands in front of a judge, found guilty or accused of nothing more than being born into the wrong, abusive family. And in half the cases, they are removed from the home, given a Walmart plastic bag, told to put all of their belongings in it, and their life is disrupted. Well, I know the head attorney, I may be running his race, and I said, Kent, this stops right here, right now. I give you a commitment to 50 backpacks. We are going to sew a Lions Club patch on it. We're going to embroider hashtag We Serve, which is our worldwide motto. We're going to hashtag Kindness Matters. And my grant writer, because I wrote to the Board of Supervisors to get a $15,000 grant, the grant writer came up with the term Backpacks to Belonging. And that program is going to be implemented throughout the world in 49,000 Lions. Now, the Lions Quest itself, see, these Lions are very humble. They have no technical skills. They have more AOL.com email addresses than you've ever seen in your life. But the guys who run Lions Quest, there's 4 of them, in Oak Brook are pretty progressive. Because if you go there, they have a complete 16-week course. And you use the term, I am deeply involved in that term, of you said neurolinguistics. I am deeply involved in Department of Defense certified neuroplasticity training. And we are one of the best in the world. We have a 16-week course, and 2 of my board members run combat training for the Department of Defense. I've got them getting together with the Lions, and I am the ultimate matchmaker. So we are going to change the world, guaranteed, and then maybe I can make Lindsay happy.
Amen. Thank you for what you're doing. Let me just, in this next little bit of time, follow my intuition. You have to meet my dear friend Bob Berenger.
Yes.
Love for you guys to meet. He can give the breakdown in the background and also the questions in regards to the VR code. He's EOR.us as well, Electronic On-Ramp Government Department. He went to Genius School, out-aced all the geniuses. He, how do I explain this? Like, he can describe the universe from inception to destiny in 12 words in 2.5 hours, or excuse me, 2.5 hours with every religious connotation and easy to understand metaphors. And when you talk about the Department of Defense, neuroplasticity, training the Navy SEALs, 350 to lift 750 in 3 days, and all of that mysticism, right? He is the guy who I'm moving in with to his PTSD retreat center in Hot Springs, Virginia. We're launching Love and Above. He's the guy I'd love for you guys to link up with and spitball and talk about certain things, wherever it leads to. Not 100% sure because there's so many different synergies on what your main mission is with
really
him
are.
as well.
Yep.
So that's just spot on. He went super quantum computing to biohacking, conscious hacking, philosophy hacking, and mastered it all, and then went to heaven and passed away, and then Holy Spirit and God came in, and he's bringing heaven into earth, not just on. And I don't say that lightly. I really mean that, which is hard to say if I didn't know him. So that's just automatic for sure. Very, very curious with that. Are you familiar with like the people from the Holo movement? Gene and Emmanuel Kunstleman, Purpose Earth, like Humanity Rising, Unify, UNIFY. These folks that are... So we were just in Ibiza, Spain, and Barcelona about a month ago for the Holo movement. And Holo movement's not an entity. It's basically based upon the greater good of quantum physics meets actual like SDG, United Nations, IDG, interdevelopmental goals, and a combination of all these things. And they brought 170 global thought leaders all together and had little workshops to basically condense timelines and see where it could take it to the next level. So they do quite a few different things. And I work with Tammy Scarlett, awesome lady who I'm going to meet with tomorrow. I forget the names. They have Impact Portfolio. Something might interest you there. They're managing some big funds and also looking for the best as well. And then like Emmanuel Kunstleman and Laura with the Holo movement, they give out grants to incredible charities and awesome people that are vetted. Very not. Let's say if you're in and you already have even the first 5 minutes of our conversation, there's money to be shared for good people, which is so cool and awesome. So it's like, if you're already doing this and that 24-hour match, which is so cool, which you mentioned to me at the beginning, for the cancer and the person and the partner, and that's doable. And then some of these other, the best, you said community boost or community action?
Community boost.
These people all need to come together in a room.
And that's what I'm about. Now, out of time, let me give you 3 bullet points. Dr.
Yes.
John moved into the Illinois Science and Technology Center. He had 2 key speakers, the president of Apple Marketing, and then his buddy, GPA, the Nobel Prize-winning nuclear physicist, who is the head of the Fermi Nuclear Labs, you know, that 5-mile accelerator in the ground. So I videotaped it. I was there when he had 300 of his best friends. So that's Dr. John, and we are like this. The other one is that I am very passionate about the International Society for Technology and Education, and Bill and Melinda used to be on that team. It's 167 thought leaders around the country, and they put out an annual report called the Horizon Report. I'd be glad to forward that to you in an email. So yeah, I am very interested in impacting global education, solving poverty, and I was big time in the Catholic Church. I've now left them very publicly. Matthew Kelly is the 3rd most famous Catholic in the world. The most famous is the Pope. The 2nd most famous is my mentor's best friend, and that's Cardinal Timothy Dolan. And the 3rd one is Matthew Kelly, who I had the pleasure of meeting many times, and not one of those people would listen to me when Lindsay was dying. So I told him, you can take your Catholic Church and put it where the sun doesn't shine. I'm moving on with big mega churches. And the pastor of Lindsay's, which is the fastest growing church in America with 6 campuses, the pastor not only sent a TV crew down to film her story and personally visited her in hospice, but he featured her on a memorial service that he had to leave his own son. Listen to this. He had to leave his own son in the ICU room to come out on the stage to talk, to present Lindsay's story. And I have been technically trespassed by 3 police departments from the church I was trying to help that's got a $500,000 debt. 3 police departments, because they did not want to listen to my suggestion that we have Sean Johnson's service for Lindsay as a guest pastor, because they think I was trying to, quote, sell something. How stupid are these leaders, supposed leaders of churches in America? No wonder we have people who can't read beyond the 5th grade education. No wonder we have 70 million people vote for a rapist, tax fraud, and now convicted felon. We gotta fix this problem, and the only way to fix it is with guys like you and me collaborating unselfishly, giving the best that we've got, because it comes from God. And when you see the formation meeting of my board, you will be blown away.
Amen to that. Well, I am honored and excited. We're going to continue this. I'm going to do my research, watch that, and a couple other things. I look forward to seeing the Horizon Report. 2 other individuals / charities that are changing the world. One is Rowdy Koenig, Koenig. He is the Life Energy Academy. He's the most spiritual man I've ever met in my life, and it came through divinity. Longer story for a later time. He talks about walking in the original creator's blueprint and the image. He has these reset, recharge technology. You just press play. You don't have to listen or watch it. He was on bedside ICU nurse, and he asked God at age 5 to release the veil to show him what's happening. Brother. We're underlying and subconscious reprogramming different videos with it, and it's changing states. He does resets on big companies, organizations, and individuals, and he has light shooting from his fingertips when this happens. And it's amazing. And another one, World's Greatest Experiment. Guy goes to impoverished countries. I'm on his board. He creates love farms. He pays the poor to send love and meditate, and creates a quantum entanglement through it.
World's greatest what?
The World's Greatest Experiment, Aiden Uttinger. The PR is just about to hit for that, and he's been doing it for a while now, but he spent about $300,000 on an app that tracks biometrics, 2 minutes, 22 seconds, full, like where is the meditation coming from? Then he connected it to white paper to blockchain, so these people that, if you don't have money in impoverished countries, you go meditate, send love, instantly you can go to the market, get food, go buy this, pay for your kids' education, and we believe it's going to change the world, and we're hoping, knock on wood, Nobel Peace later on for him and what they're doing. So,
well, in closing, if you want to help me, I have 2 needs.
Yes.
I lost my vice chairman or my chairman over ethics. Nothing in my world will. I mean, you just don't do something unethical with me. That you're dead.
Sure.
So that's number 1. So my chairman is 49% equity ownership for $250,000. The vice chairman is open for $200,000 for 41% for $200,000. And my dream is to meet Jennifer Gardner, because she's the spokesman for the #1 charity I want to help, and it's called Feed the Children.
Gotcha. Okay. So meeting her and then finding that vice chairman is your 2 asks. If the miracles can happen quicker than they already are. Fair?
Yes.
Amen. Jim, thank you sincerely for the extra time. Pleasure to meet you. God bless you. Thank you for everything you're doing I'll reach out to you in a couple days for sure after I watch that. And I don't know if I have your personal cell. I don't know if you put it on here. Is it the
815 540 5683.
Okay, I'll send you a text right after this. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, brother.
This has been the best time I've had in 2 months.
Well, thank you so much.
Too bad you weren't better looking than female.
Hey, you just said you reached out to that lady from 50 a few years back, so let me know how it goes.
Dan, do you listen well? I will let you know.
Awesome. Take care, brother.
Bye.
Bye now.